In today's Microsoft Excel tutorials video, we are going to see the usage of the various text functions that are available to us in Microsoft Excel. As from our previous discussions, we already know that there are a bunch of functions that are given to us by Microsoft Excel, and these functions could be used for a variety of purposes, like for calculating the logical output, the arithmetic output, or the mathematical functions, and much more. So, in the same spirit, in today's video we are going to see that what are the various text functions that are available in Microsoft Excel and how can we use them to manipulate the data or the text specifically that is available to us. So here we have some data with us that is available in the data column, and this rest of the data I'm just going to clear out. So just select on all those cells whose data you want to clear, just right click and click on clear contents, and all its data would be cleared off. So first of all, in the data column I have some names. Now these names are written correctly, like their spellings are correct, then the normal camel case convention is followed. First name and the last name are both starting with capital letters, but the only problem that arises over here is that of a spacing. As you can see, in the first name there are so many spaces, and then there is A written and the rest of the name is written correctly, while in the second name you can see there is so much space before the first name, and there is too much spacing between the first and the last names as well. And similarly, in the case of the third name, we have too much spacing in the beginning. So this is the spacing convention that you are bound to get whenever you are playing with the data of the text format. So how can we manipulate this data? Fortunately, we have a function in MS Excel just for this purpose, and this function is known as the trim function. So how can we use that? Here we have this column of a trim function. All you got to do is select a cell, it could be any cell, then press the equals. Now here you got to type the trim function, that is TRIM, then press on the tab key so that this function would be activated on its own by the Microsoft Excel. Now what you got to do is type in some of the text or provide it with a textual value. Now what we are going to do is just simply select this particular cell, so just click on it, then close the parenthesis and press the enter key. Now as soon as you do that, you can see that all the leading spaces that were present in this name originally have been removed by the trim function. Now what happens if this particular function encounters the space between two words, like here in the second name, Jim and Parsons? There is too much of spacing between these two names, which should not be here. So what you got to do is just when you have applied this particular function on the cell C10, then you want to apply it on the cell C11 as well. What you got to do for that is just click on this cell, that is G10, and drag it downwards to all the cells up to which you want to apply the same function. So when you do that, boom, all of your data has now been converted into the standard format that is being expected. All the leading spaces have been removed, and all the extra spaces that were available between the two words, like in the word Jim Parsons or Peter Matthew, have been removed completely. And that is the advantage of the trim function in Microsoft Excel. Now if we just take up on the length function, that is LEN, what will it do? It will just count the number of characters including the spaces in a particular cell and will give its count to the user. Now suppose we want to calculate the length of the words that have been encountered after the usage of the trim function. So now for the length function, what you got to do is just press on the equal sign, type in the word len, open the parenthesis, provide it with the data and close the parenthesis. As soon as you click on enter, then it would count the number of the characters along with the blank space that is present between them and give its total count. Now you can just drag it towards the end to find out the count of all the characters or the length of all this data that is available to us. Now here we have a column of len without trim. So here we are going to use this raw data over here. Close the parenthesis, and here you can see that this was the length of the data without the trim function, and this is the length of the data after the use of the trim function. So this gives us a clear understanding that how much spaces have been removed by the trim function. Now what happens if you want to convert all of your data into an uppercase format? For that you have a function in MS Excel known as the upper function. You gotta write it, open the parenthesis, supply the data and close the parenthesis. So it will just convert all of your data into uppercase. But as I already told you, it will not sanitize the data. It will only convert whatever data that it gets into the uppercase fashion. Now what happens if you want to convert your data into a lowercase format? You just gotta type lower, open the parenthesis, get the data, close the parenthesis, hit enter, and then just drag it downwards so that it would all be converted into a lowercase format. Now what is a proper case? A proper formatting, what it does, it capitalizes the first letter of each word, and that is the proper case formatting in Microsoft Excel. Suppose we just type in the word proper, open the parenthesis and supply it with this data. Then close the parenthesis, hit enter. Then you can see that it takes data from the lowercase and capitalizes the first letter of each word like this. Now if we just drag it down to here, so this is the proper case formatting as per the Microsoft Excel function. Now we have some more functions, or these text functions, which hold utmost importance. Now I have two words written which are programming and knowledge in two different cells. Now I want to combine them together to make the name of the YouTube channel you are just watching. So for that, what will I do is use a concatenate function. Press equals, then write in the word concatenate, then provide it with the contents of the two cells. First of all the contents of the first cell, then put a comma, then the contents of the second cell and close the parenthesis. So it combines or joins the contents of both the cells together. Now what happens if you want these two words to be separated by a single space? Then in that case you can just type in the word concatenate, provide it with the contents of the first cell, put a comma, within double quotes write a blank space, again put a comma, and then provide it with the contents of the second cell. Then close the parenthesis and hit enter. So that's what the output we have got. Programming space knowledge. Now what happens if the data, instead of knowledge, we have got something like this, which has a number of leading blank spaces? So first of all we need to remove those blank spaces because we do not want this kind of data. So for that, what can we do is use a trim function. So how can we use a trim function inside a concatenate function, or how can we use a function inside a function? For that you gotta simply type the equal sign, then type in the concatenate function. First of all provide it with the contents of the first cell, then put a comma. Now instead of the regular joining, we want it to be joined with the output of the trim function. So herein write in the function trim, open the parenthesis, provide the trim function with the data, close the parenthesis for the trim function and then close the parenthesis for the concatenate function and hit enter. So that is what the data we got, and that's exactly what we wanted. So that is how you can use the various text functions that are available in Microsoft Excel. In today's Microsoft Excel tutorials video, we are going to see the three kinds of cell referencing. Now, what is cell referencing? So a simple definition of cell referencing is that when you want to just apply a kind of a formula to the cells, then simply you got to provide the address of the cells. Now, when you are providing the address of the cells, what you are doing is actually referencing to those cells, and that is known as cell referencing in Microsoft Excel. So, as the cell referencing is concerned, there are three types of cell referencings in Microsoft Excel, and these three are relative referencing, absolute referencing, and mixed referencing. Now we are going to study about all these three referencing, and we are also going to see that how can we actually use them in the different kinds of data that is available to us, and how can they be used to generate the results that we need. So first of all, we would be looking at relative referencing. This is the simplest form of referencing as the cells are concerned, and this relative referencing is the most widely used as well. Here we have a table which consists of three columns. These are number of units, price per unit, and the total. Now if we take a look at number of units and price per unit, then we know that the total would be a simple multiplication of the data that is present in the number of units and the data that is present in the column price per unit. So simply for the first record, the contents would be $60, and similarly all these contents would be just multiplication of both of these records. So for that, what we are going to do is just first select a cell, and here we are going to provide it with a formula, which is nothing but a simple multiplication formula. For this, what we are going to do is simply type an equal sign. Then we are going to select our first record, that is the number of units. Then type in the asterisk symbol and then provide it with the second records, that is the price per unit. And then as soon as we hit enter, it will just calculate the multiplication of both of them, and the product would be shown in this cell. This is exactly what we needed. Now what we're going to do is just drag it to all these columns so that this contents were visible. Now the reason why we were getting the pound symbols before was that this cell was not particularly adjusted to accommodate this kind of a number. So we just double clicked over here so that it can now accommodate three numbers, and that's why we are now being visible with the correct data. So that is relative referencing. Now we come to absolute referencing. So first of all, what we're going to do is just change its type from currency to a number. So here what we are having is a data in which we are given different subjects like maths, science, English, Hindi, and computer. And along with them we have the marks, like how much marks the student has got in that particular subject. Now if we want to calculate the percentage of that particular subject, then what we are going to do is simply just divide the marks by 100, and that is the total number of marks that we have got. So one approach could be just providing it with a formula like equals the contents of this cell divided by 100, and that would do the thing. Yeah, we are going to select a percentage type for it. So it's 98%. Now what we are going to do that instead of this approach, suppose we are giving that data 100 is present in a cell like this. So in that case, what will we do? We need to just divide the contents of cells like this. Suppose this data is present in this particular cell.
and we can just delete it. Alright, so what will we do is we type equals, we just select the contents of this cell, just put a slash sign and then select the contents of this particular cell, that is I5, and press enter. So we get 98%, which is the correct answer. Now we can just drag it down like this. So what do we got? First of all, this is an error over here. Next, we have got 81.63%, which is wrong, as the answer must be 80%. Then we have got 56.58%, which is again wrong. So all these things are wrong and one error, which should not be here. Now, if we just click on this to see its formula, then in the formula bar you can see that this is the formula that we are getting, that is I8 divided by I6, which is not we required. What we required, that the contents of this first thing should change, that is it should change from I7 to I8, I9, I10 and so on. But the second cell contents or its address should remain the same, and which is I5. So this is what absolute referencing does. It just stops the contents or pauses the contents of the one cell from changing. Now here what we want, that in all the cases only the value I5 should be there. So for that what we are going to do is just go back to our first cell, just double click on it so that we get the formula over here, and bring your cursor towards the rightmost side such that it is at the end of the text that you have written, and then press the F4 key. Now when you press this F4 key, what will happen? You will notice that two dollar signs have been added, one before the letter I and one before the number 5. And that is how you do absolute referencing. That means you have logged the contents of the cell I5. Now if we just drag this formula again, then you can see that the result that we are getting now is correct. 76% for 76 marks, 80% for 80 marks, 43% for 43 marks and so on. Now the third kind of the referencing that is the least used and is the most complex form of referencing is known as mixed referencing. As the name suggests, mixed referencing is a combination of relative referencing as well as absolute referencing. So what we are going to do here is we have a table in front of us, and this table has some data like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the columns, and in the rows it has 16, 17, 18 and 19. So what it means? It means that in this table what do we need is the data like 16 into 1, which is the result 16 in the first cell over here, and in the last cell we want the data like 19 into 5. So this is the kind of the data that we need. Now what will we do is we simply provide it with a formula. So for the formula we put an equal sign, we provide it with the contents of this cell, then we put an asterisk, and then we provide it with the contents of this cell. Then we press enter, and again it's a currency. So what we're going to do is just select all these contents and change its type to a number. Alright, now this is 16, that's what we have got, and if we just drag these contents over here, so this is what we have got. If we can just, okay, so this is what we have got. So if we just click on its formula, then it is M7 multiplied by N6. But if we click at the contents of the second cell, it is M8 into N7, and that is this. So that's what it is happening. It is incrementing the value over here and as well as over here. That's why we have got the wrong result. So in this case, what do we need to do is, for this particular column, that is for the column N, we want all the contents to be multiplied with the number 1. For the column O, we want all these rows to be multiplied with the values of 2, and similarly for P, Q and R as well. So for this what we are going to do is just press an equal sign, then type in the letter M, that is nothing but the column number for our contents, which we want fixed. So what we are going to do is just press equals, press a dollar sign, then type in the letter M. We want the number of row as 7, then put it an asterisk. Now what we want is that it should be set at the value 6, but this n should not be fixed, so we just put an n, then again type a dollar and then type in like this. Alright, now if we just drag it to the sides, then you can see 16 2s are 32, 16 3s are 48, 16 4s are 64 and 16 5s are 80. Similarly, if we just drag it over here, then it's 17 2s are 34, 17 3s are 51, 17 4s are 68 and 17 5s are 85. Similarly, over here, if we just drag it for the tables of 18, and similarly if we just drag it for the tables of 19, like this. So that's what we have got. Now this is a case of mixed referencing, where if we just go to the formula bar, then first of all we have just stopped or paused this M, that is the column, but we have allowed these rows to be changed. Then in the second case, what we have done is just kept a constant number of this row 6 and have allowed the columns to be changed. So that is all.
In today's Microsoft Excel tutorials video, we are going to see that how can we just separate whatever data is given to us into the different columns. Suppose when you have a database or a table in front of you or an Excel worksheet in front of you, then the data that is given to you is in a column called name, like this data over here. So names are present, which may include the first name and the last name, or the first name, the middle name and the last name as well. So generally the data is present in this format, and you are required to just separate it into the 3 different fields, like the first name, the middle name and last name, or just the first name and the last name, and so on. So what we are going to do as of now is we are going to see that how can we separate the data that is given to us in this format into the different columns. Now there are 2 conditions possible for that. First is whenever there is a delimiter or a separator that is given to you, like in this case there is a delimiter or a separator known as the space, which is given to us. We know that there is a first name and then there is a space, then there is a middle name, again there is a space, and then there is a last name in the second column. While in this third record we can see that there is a first name, then there is a space, and then there is a last name. So we have a general convention with us that there would be a space, and with the help of the space we can find out that what is the first name and what is the middle name and what is the last name. So in that case, how can we separate the data? And then we are going to see that if there is no convention given to us, that there is no specific delimiter given to us, then how can we separate the data? Apart from this, we are also going to see that if different kinds of delimiters are given to us, suppose for example we have a data like over here, there is written as apple, then there is a mod sign, then there is written ball, then there is a space, and then there is written as cat. Now if we just increase its width like this, so this is what our data is. There are 2 kinds of delimiters present, like apple, then mod, then ball, and then space, and then cat. So in this case there are 2 delimiters present. First is the mod delimiter, and then there is a space delimiter, and the words are 3. Now we need to separate these words into 3 separate columns. So how can we do that? We are also going to see it over here in this video tutorial. Apart from that, we are also going to look at the various kinds of delimiters that are built in the Microsoft Excel, which are recognized as delimiters, and how can we provide external delimiters to the Microsoft Excel. So let's start with it, and this feature is called text to column feature, and it is present in the data tab or the data ribbon. So once you go to the data ribbon, you will find this in the group called data tools, text to columns feature, and this is exactly that what we are going to do. If we just hover over it, so it tells you about a description of this particular feature, which is that it splits a single column of text into the multiple columns, and on what criteria it does, that is the delimiters or the fixed width criteria. So first of all, what you need to do is just select a piece of data that you want to separate, then go to text to columns feature. Then since we have a delimiter with us, so that's why we are going to select this delimited option, and that delimiter is a space. That's what we are going to use. So just select this delimited option and then click on next. As soon as you click over there, you would be asked to choose delimiters. Now tab, semicolon, comma and space are the 4 delimiters that are recognized by Microsoft Excel. So if you have any of the delimiters within them, then you can just select any one of them. Like we have a space delimiter, so I have selected this space, and you would observe that as soon as you selected this space, then these columns are now separated into 3 parts. Now if I just uncheck it, then there is single thing, nothing is selected, only a single column is present, and as soon as I just click on this space, then these 3 columns have been divided. Now I just deselect on this tab option and click on next. Then it requires me to select a destination, so I just select this destination cell as H8 and then I click on finish. So as soon as I do that, you can see that this is what we have got, the data being separated into 3 different columns as we wanted our data to be separated, and that is the feature of text to columns function present in Microsoft Excel. Now we have another piece of data in front of us in which there are 2 delimiters present. In our previous example that we just saw, there was a single delimiter present, that was the space delimiter. Now we have 2 different kinds of delimiters present. So how can we separate this data? So first of all, we are just going to select this cell, then go to text to columns feature. Then again we are going to use the delimiters option, so make sure that this delimited option is selected and then click on next. Here what we are going to do is, since we have got a checkbox over here, so you can see that this data is already separated, apple mod ball in one column and cat in another column, because the space is already selected as a delimiter from our previous memory. Now what we are going to do is we provide another delimiter to it, that is the mod sign, but mod is not a recognized delimiter by Microsoft Excel. So what do? Is we just click on this other sign and then provide it with a data that it is mod. We specify that mod is our other delimiter. So as soon as you do that, you can see that in the preview tab, apple, ball and cat have been divided into 3 different columns, and that's exactly what we needed. Now once you are happy with it, you can just click on next, then again select a destination cell for yourself. It can be any other cell, so I have selected this cell, or it could be even the same cell in which your data was present. So you can just click on finish then, and you can see that apple, ball and cat are now present in the 3 different columns as we needed. Now the third kind of data that we can convert into different columns is the data that is not being present with any kind of delimiters. As in our case, the words apple, ball and cat have no delimiters in them, so we are going to just select these 3 columns and we are going to apply this feature on these only. Then once you have selected your cells, you can just go to text to columns option. Okay, so what it does, it requires me to select only the columns or a single cell but not the rows. So what I'm going to do is just type in ball over here and then type in cat over here. Then I'm going to select these 3 columns, go to text to columns option, then make sure that my fixed width is selected. Then I click on next, and here you can see that in the data preview we have kind of a scale option in front of us. So in the scale, if we just click over here, so this is what separation has been created, and this separation states that the first letter of the words needs to be separated from rest of the letters. And here's what we need to do, that A, B and C in one column and the rest of the letters of the words in the other column. And that is how you can just create a different column by just clicking over here, and if you want you can just double click and it will move out. So with a single click it would be present, and with a double click it would move out. So I just click on a single, and you can add as many columns as you want. Suppose I add one more over here like this. So after the first letter, then after the second letter. There are 2 columns that I have created extra, so there would be a total of 3 columns. Then I click on next, and again it would ask me to choose a destination. This time I'm going to just keep it the same, that is wherever my data is present, it would be used over there only, and then I click on finish. Then you can see that that is what is being created. It was A, P, and the rest of the letters over here, B, A, the rest of the letters over here, C, A, and the remaining letters, that is the letter T, is not present over here. So that is how you can just convert your data into the different columns using the text to columns feature of Microsoft Excel. And it could be used in a variety of ways, like if a delimiter is present, if no delimiter is present, or if different kinds of delimiters are present. So this is a essential feature of Microsoft Excel, as you could have already seen. And that is all in today's Microsoft Excel tutorials video. I hope you all have enjoyed it. In today's Microsoft Excel tutorials video, we are going to see and use 2 important features of the Microsoft Excel, and these features are the paste special feature and the speak cells feature. Now both of these features have utmost importance and they are provided by the Microsoft Excel itself. So you do not need to just do anything special to use these features, only you can just follow some steps to use these built-in features of the Microsoft Excel software itself. Now we are going to see that what these features are and how can we use them separately, and what is the advantage that they give to us in the Microsoft Excel workbook. So first of all, we are going to take a look at the paste special feature, and then we are going to take a look at the other feature, that is the speak cells feature of Microsoft Excel. So first of all, we will talk about the paste special feature. So as the name suggests, this is a feature that enables you to paste the data. Now what is its importance? Its importance can be understood simply by here. I have a table which has a single column by the name, as name, and there are some names present over in this column. So I just copy this data, just select this data, then press Ctrl C to copy it, and then I just go to some other cell and press Ctrl V to paste it. Then as soon as I do, this is the kind of the output that I got. Whatever the data was there, it has been copied. Whatever the formatting was there, it has been copied. But the only problem is that whatever the width of the cell was previously of that case cell, it has been not changed and my data is looking messy. So to arrange it, I will just double click over here and then it has been arranged. But what if I just don't want to just use this double click option and I just want that the exact width of the cell to be pasted? Or what if I only want to just copy my data? Or what if only I just want to copy my formatting? So in that case, a special kind of a paste feature is what we are going to use, and that feature is known as the paste special feature. Now this paste special feature is present in the home tab, and in the home tab you can see in the clipboard group this paste option. So this is the place from where you can access this paste special feature of Microsoft Excel. So once you have copied the data, you can just go to any cell where you want to paste. Now here what do I want to paste is only my formatting. That is the first, that is the column heading should be in green and the text should be written in white, and the rest of the things with a gray background and black foreground color. So what I do is I just select this destination cell, then I just click on this arrow option. So as soon as I click that, you can see these are the various kinds of paste options that I get. Now in these paste option, I just only want to paste the formatting. So in the other paste option, there is an option of formatting. As soon as I click on that, you can see that only the formatting has been pasted. Now if you want to check it, you can just double click on the cell, you can type in anything like data, anything, and you will see that the formatting has been copied as it is. So that is how you can just copy and paste the formatting as it is of the data using the paste special feature. Now the second thing is if you just want to paste the data and not the formatting. So again, I just select any cell, But before that, I just need to copy this data once again. Just select any of the cells, then go to paste, and here I only want to paste the data. So what I will do is, here is an option in the paste values group, that is the values option. So I just click on it, and only the values or the data is now pasted without any formatting. And if you can just double click, you can see that there is no formatting applied, and you can now apply any formatting as per your choice or as per your wish. Now the other thing is, what if we want to just paste this data as it is? So with the formatting, with the exact data, and with the exact width of the cell. Now you can see in the G cell that its width is more, and in the O cell where we want to paste the data, its width is less. So again, go to this paste special options, and here you will find an option of keep source column widths. So as soon as you click on that, you can see that exact copy of the data has been created, along with the formatting, along with the data, and along with the width of the cell as well. So this is the importance of the paste special feature. It reduces your time considerably, and it can be used very effectively in a variety of places. Now this is what the paste special feature is all about. Now what we are going to do is learn about any other feature of Microsoft Excel, and that is the speak cells feature. So before that, I'm just going to organize my data a little bit like this. Right, and these rest of the things I'm just going to delete. Okay, so these are the data that I have kept for the use of the speak cells feature. How can we use the speak cells feature? So to use this speak cells feature, first of all, go to files, and here you will find options. And in the options, you will find an option called quick access toolbar. Now in this quick access toolbar, you gotta search for speak cells. Gotta select all commands option, and then just you can go and select for speak cells feature. Okay, so here is the speak cells feature. So I'm just going to select the speak cells, speak stopping, speak cells by column, speak cells by rows, and speak cells on enter, and then click on OK. Now as soon as you do that, you can see that some of these options have been added on the quick access toolbar. Then what you got to do is just make sure to turn this feature on, but before that you got to make sure that your computer is not on the mute mode as mine was. So I have just turned off this mute option. Then you can just click on it.
Josh Lambert, Sheldon B. Cooper,
So this is the speak cells feature. It by default moves in a row format, that is row by row. It first spoke this thing, then this, and then came on to this next row. So that is the speak cells feature, and by pressing this speak cells start, you can start the cells speaking, and just beside it, it's a stop speaking cells option. So you can use that to make sure that the cells have stopped speaking. Now if you want them to move in a different format, that is by column to column format, you can just select this option over here, select your desired data, and then start.
Josh Lambert, Sheldon B. Cooper, Leonard Wolowitz, Howard Stark, Bruce Shaw, James L. Thompson, Tom D. Pratt. Name, Josh Lambert.
So that's how you can make it move on a column by column format. Now there is another way through which you can make your cells speak, and that is cell speak on enter. So when you select this option, this is what it will say, and what will you do is just type in any data and press enter, and as soon as you press enter, then the cells will speak. Again, if we just type apple, it's speaking. And now if we just type in ball, now what if we type any other thing like cat, then it also speaks. So as soon as you enter any data, whether you present or press a tab key or an enter key, the cells would be spoken when the cell speak on enter feature is turned on. Now if you want, you can just turn this feature off, like just clicking on it again,
Turn off speak on enter.
and it would give you a voice message that you have now turned off the cell speak on the enter option. Now if you want, you can just keep your cursor on any other thing, and you can even just click on this data and present and just
HKLLK. Apple. Ball. Cat.
so that is how the cells would start speaking. And one more thing, if you just keep your cursor over here and just click on speak cells again,
Josh Lambert. Sheldon B. Cooper. Leonard Wolowitz. Howard Stark. Bruce Shaw. James L. Thompson. Tom D. Pratt.
then these two datas were present in a side-by-side fashion. So that is why there once the column was over, then the second column started, but this data is present after a break of two columns, and that's why it was not started as soon as this data was over. So if you want to do that, you can just copy them from here and you can just paste it over here. Now if you just move your cursor over here and click on speak cells,
Thompson. Tom D. Pratt. HKLLK. Apple. Ball. Cat.
so that is when all this data is now selected in a gray fashion and the cells would be speaking it. So for the cells to speak the data, you need them to be present in a side-by-side fashion or in an adjacent manner. Only then it would be spoken. Otherwise the link would be broken as soon as there is a blank cell encountered after the cell filled with data is spoken. So that is the usage and the advantage of two important features of Microsoft Excel: the paste special feature and the speak cells feature. I hope you all have enjoyed this video.